Alright guys, so in my last video I kind of pointed out that I think these contracts are starting to really hurt some of the smaller markets. And I kind of mentioned if you guys dropped your city name, I would do a search specific to your area. Someone requested it, and so here goes. There's 5 results in this immediate market within a 100-mile radius. This load going to Aurora, Colorado is extremely cheap for going to Colorado. Usually there's a much better rate going that way, primarily because it's difficult to get out and the weather's usually bad. Here's a load going to Carlisle, Pennsylvania. I had an experience where I sent the driver there and we couldn't find anything out of there for a while. It's just difficult, and honestly I think that's still way too cheap. But come Monday morning it may be a little bit better. There's one going to Charlotte. That location's something else. They're bad to get you in and out. You need to take your patience with you if you go there. And at $1.69, I don't think I would make that trip. There's one going to MEM1. Our friends over there that like to cancel your pickup so that the manager doesn't look bad for you sitting there too long. And then the last one's going to Baltimore. You'll notice all of these loads are trailer required. They're outbound loads from third-party vendors. If you look at any one of these, I'll move it to the top so you can see which one I'm talking about. So if you look at any one of these, this number here indicates that's a vendor. That's not an Amazon location. An Amazon location will be 4 characters. It's usually 3 digits, which indicates your local airport, and then how many facilities have been added to that region. So right below it you have DEN2. That was the second fulfillment center added in the Denver area. And so that way you can identify the first number at the very top is a vendor. So all of these loads are what they call inbound loads to their system. So they're all going to require you bring a trailer. You're not really going to see power only doing those. For the most part, those are trailer required. I'm going to open up the radius another 50 miles just for the sake of seeing what else is in the area. Looks like there's a total of 12 loads. I don't remember how many we just said there were. But all of these still end up being trailer required loads. There's one going to FTW1, still pretty cheap. Yeah, so there's no power only here if that's what you're interested in. And so if we go over to the contracts, it doesn't show any for that area. I'm going to say you're probably, to Amazon, considered a Nashville market. In other words, you're serviced from the Nashville domicile. So if you got on with Nashville and they asked you to select a domicile, that's probably the one that they would assign you to. So there's 45 contracts out of Nashville. So Nashville's going to have quite a few of them. If we look at this, there's a team, you know, that's kind of typical now for what they're doing for team blocks, the $7,900. Now, when I point out at $7,900, they're still going to add fuel surcharge. And so how much are they adding for fuel surcharge? Is it $500? Is it $700? The fuel surcharge is still going to be added, and if your route's going to encounter tolls, they're going to add that as well. This is the base rate. If you've ever looked at what a load is paying, this is the base. And then they still add more. Maybe if I click on this, it'll say what it is. There it is. It says base value, accessorial charges, and fuel surcharges are in addition in accordance with program policies. And so I don't really know if there's a set specific amount they charge for fuel surcharge, or they allow you to bill it, I guess is the better way to put it. So that's what your teams are going to be. Let's go ahead and filter those out, because you have 45 in your area. And I'm not wearing my headset, which means this video is going to be really noisy. All right, so there's only one Solo One. They pay the Solo One out of that area at $560, and so for this particular contract, they're expecting you to provide 2 tractors, and for both tractors for a week, they'll pay $5,600. I think that's just low. Someone told me, hey man, well, you don't know how other people operate. Maybe for other people that's good money. I don't think that's good money. If your operating cost is really low, if you bought yourself a truck cash and you don't have a truck payment, you have to remember you're still putting wear and tear on your truck, and your investment is going to run out. By that I mean your truck will eventually get to the point where you're not making enough money to do an in-frame because now the engine's worn, or do a major repair, your clutch failed. A clutch remove and replace is about $2,000. It's about what a clutch costs. Your tires wear out, so if you have 8 tires that come due at once, that's going to be hard to afford at these prices. That's my opinion. I've been doing this for a little bit, but like someone told me, you could have it figured out better than I do. So this is Solo 2s, and you really only need to look at one, because once you see one, they're all going to be priced the same. So your Solo 2s, if you don't know what they are, you put in like a 12 or a 13-hour day. Usually they're sending you somewhere. So about a day's drive, or even if it's a little less, and then once you're there, you might move a trailer locally, do another drop and hook or 2, and then you're off for 10 hours, and then you come back and finish your day back at home the second day. So it's almost like you're away every other night. So your Solo 2s end up paying at $1,116. That's kind of typical. Your Solo 2s are typical, twice what a Solo 1 is. The difference is on your Solo 2, you're probably going to burn more fuel because you're going to be traveling the whole day, as opposed to on your Solo 1s, sometimes it's a lot of little 5 and 10 mile trips. And so honestly, if you're going to do Solo 2s versus Solo 1s, I think your Solo 2s might be more profitable if you're going to be at the same price. But this is what your Solo 2s are. Now your Solo 2s may be the contracts that will cover the area that I just looked up that doesn't have its own domicile, because you're within a day's drive. And so there's 18 Solo 2 contracts, and as you can see, these are pushing out into February. There's February 27th, there's March 13th. So these contracts also are pushing out their ways. And so, like I said earlier, Amazon looks like they're going to be going forward with these. I think they figured out this is going to save them money, and this is the way for them. And so if you're not prepared to go that cheap, you're going to be stuck with what's on the regular load board, and the regular load board is kind of drying up because they're moving so many contracts over to these. I've met some people that do these loads, the team long hauls, and in many cases, well, in one case it was someone from Guatemala, and I'm not trying to, point the finger and say, oh, it's you Guatemalans, but in one case it was a couple from Guatemala. They saved all their pennies. The guy took a job driving locally. They bought their truck cash because they didn't have credit. The wife got her CDL. They live in the truck, and to them they were making a great living. Now, of course, this was summertime last year, and so they were probably still getting $12,000 for, a team load for a week. I wouldn't know how they feel about these. I know how I feel about them, but anyway, that's my opinion, and I'm interjecting my opinion on what I just showed you on the board. That's not why you came here. You came here for the board information, but that's what's in your area. I hope this helps you. Thanks for watching.